everyone, and welcome to a moment of family health. Man, here we are once again with times changing, and the way of our quarantine looks possibly for some a little different than it did last week. And so, when these changes are happening in our lives, they can certainly impact our relationships. And when we've had a normal and then it needed to change back in March, and then now some of us are experiencing maybe yet again another adjustment period. These disruptions or adjustments can sometimes create little triggers or points of friction in relationships. And so when that happens, sometimes our brains, the left side of our brain, assigns narratives, or it tries to give explanation in a rational way as to why something's happening. And so when these adjustments happen and friction maybe is present within our relationships, our brains want to find a way with words or narrative to explain what's going on. And it can quickly happen in times such as these, where our brain can go to the narrative of he or she always does this, or you will never change in this way, or our relationship will always be like this, or he or she is just like, and fill in the blank. And so these narratives can creep up, and we can give recollection to past experiences that certainly reinforce how it is that we feel about our spouses. We can easily fall into a place of keeping score, and when that happens, resentment certainly builds, and that narrative just continues to grow. It's a big novel by now of how we see our point of thought get reinforced. And so I think that narratives are really powerful, and what we believe about our spouses will profoundly affect how we treat them and how we feel about them. And so I wonder if we could intercept that narrative from growing a bit more. And instead of it growing, I wonder if we could ask God to reveal, what is the story that I'm telling about him or her? What are the lies, Lord, that I'm believing about my spouse that need to be done away with, that need to be exposed? And then let's ask God to bring truth to what we need to focus on that will change the ways we see our teammates. Let's invite God to develop a new narrative about our spouses that would reveal their God-given identities. And that from these new narratives, that as these new narratives take root, we would then be able to have that right side of our brain, that relational side open, and those circuits to open and fire and be turned on. And then we would function with new beliefs, and those beliefs would guide how we treat our spouses with kindness and gentleness, and then ultimately develop habits of joy for our spouses and be able to enter into what gives them joy. And so I wonder if it could look like this, maybe a spouse thinking about the spouse and saying, oh, this person is just like his or her parent. But then through asking God to reveal the lies that need to be exposed, revealing that story that's being told that isn't true, and then asking God to reveal the spouse's God-given identity, that through that work of entering in with Jesus, the spouse sees, oh, I see that the way my spouse entered into parenting, or the way my spouse just picked up the pieces when I was falling apart and sat with me, this proves this person is filled with compassion and service and not like I thought. And so I want to extend appreciation, and it looks like I appreciated when you joined with me and sat with me. I felt like I wasn't alone. Or it's entering into joy. I know you love going on runs, and so I'm going to do that with you, that sort of thing. Let's invite the Lord to develop new narratives for our relationships. And let's just see how kindness and gentleness joy and appreciation will follow. Thanks. Take care.